Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I'm your host, Heather Tusco. In addition to my full podcast episodes, I also put out additional content here. There are shorter episodes and some topics that go beyond the Tudor period on either side, plus regular Tudor minutes. So go ahead and subscribe so you never miss all of the English history videos I put out. This video is a request from Tasani, who commented on the Tudor memes video I did that she would love a video on Recusant Catholics. Well, I've actually done several podcast episodes that touch on Recusant Catholics and the Catholic experience in Elizabethan England. I will link to those in the description. But for now, here's an overview for those of you who might not know as much about the Catholic experience under Elizabeth. I'm excited to share the story of some of these brave people who risked everything for their faith. We'll talk about the political and religious context of the time, the events that led to the emergence of Recusant Catholics, and the challenges they faced. To understand the emergence of Recusant Catholics, it's crucial to look at the religious turbulence that marked Tudor England. The English Reformation, initiated by Henry VIII in the 1530s, led to the establishment of the Church of England and England's break with the Roman Catholic Church. This was the result of a combination of political, religious, and personal factors, including Henry's desire for a male heir and wanting to marry Anne Boleyn. Following Henry's death, England experienced a series of dramatic shifts in religious policy. His son, Edward VI, took the country further down the path of Protestantism, introducing more radical reforms. This was a period that people refer to as the stripping of the altars, because they literally stripped anything that looked like popery. Paintings were destroyed, anything that relics, anything that had any kind of sense of Catholicism to it at all was destroyed during that period. There was also no music during the services, which I don't like because I love Tudor choral music. But then Edward's reign was short-lived, and when Mary I, a devout Catholic, ascended the throne, she reversed these reforms and wanted to return England to Catholicism. This period is known as the Marian Restoration, and it was marked by the persecution of Protestants and the burning of nearly 300 individuals at the stake for heresy. When Elizabeth I, daughter of Henry and Anne Boleyn, ascended the throne in 1558, she inherited a deeply divided and politically unstable country. Elizabeth was a Protestant, but she understood the need for a religious settlement that could unify the nation and minimize conflict. Thus, in 1559, she enacted the Elizabethan religious settlement, which sought to establish a moderate form of Protestantism as the state religion. This settlement consisted of two key acts: the Act of Supremacy, which reestablished the monarch as the supreme governor of the Church of England, and the Act of Uniformity, which set the standard for church services and required the use of the Book of Common Prayer. While this settlement aimed to appease both Catholics and more radical Protestants, it ultimately favored a moderate Protestant position. So ultimately, neither side was completely happy, which I think is the mark of a good compromise. As part of the settlement, all English citizens were required to attend Church of England services or face severe fines and penalties. This policy, known as the Recusancy Law, put Catholics in a difficult position, forcing them to choose between loyalty to their faith and obedience to the state. It's against this backdrop that we meet the Recusant Catholics, people who refused to attend Anglican services and remained loyal to the Roman Catholic Church. The term recusant is derived from the Latin recusare, which means to refuse. These Catholics risked their livelihoods, freedom, and sometimes even their lives to stay true to their beliefs. Recusant Catholics were a diverse group, comprising people from various social classes and backgrounds. Some were members of the nobility who held on to Catholic traditions, while others were ordinary people who sought to preserve their faith in a rapidly changing world. In the face of persecution, many Recusant Catholics practiced their faith in secret, attending clandestine masses held in private homes or remote locations. The situation escalated when the Pope declared Elizabeth I a heretic in 1570, excommunicating her and encouraging Catholics to rebel against her rule. In response, Elizabeth tightened restrictions on the recusant Catholics and increased efforts to root out hidden Catholic priests. The government employed priest hunters who searched for and arrested priests and their supporters. Many Catholic priests, including Jesuit missionaries sent from the continent, were executed under charges of treason. Despite the danger, these missionaries continued to risk their lives, clandestinely ministering to the spiritual needs of Recusant Catholics. The tension between Catholics and the government reached a boiling point in 1605 with the Gunpowder Plot, a failed attempt by a group of Catholics to assassinate King James I, Elizabeth's successor. Although the vast majority of Recusant Catholics were not involved, the government used this as an excuse to further persecute and marginalize them. Throughout the reign of Elizabeth I and beyond, Recusant Catholics demonstrated incredible courage and dedication to their faith. Their story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. And my favorite composer, William Byrd, was a Recusant Catholic. Some of his most famous pieces of music were actually written for secret Catholic masses, like his Mass for 3, 4, and 5 voices. He also wrote the Gradualia, which I did an entire episode on, which was a response to the laws against Catholics as well. So I will link to those episodes in the show notes. Thanks for joining me on this exploration of Recusant Catholics in Elizabethan England. Remember to like the video and hit subscribe if you want to see more shorter content like this from me, and leave a comment if you have a specific time period or event you'd like for me to cover in a next video. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.